And keeping the one-on-one series continuing, I'm excited to have the winner of Big Brother Canada season 11, who also is a success coach. You might know him as Ball Game, but we got Ty McDonald on the podcast. What's going on, Ty?
What's going on, Brice? Talk to me.
How is everything? How's your new year been?
Been great so far. Can't complain. Lots of wins. So we're off to a good start this year, and I just want to keep that going throughout the rest of the year.
Okay, we love it. We love it. We love it. I am excited to have you on the podcast. Want to talk a little Big Brother, but I really want to talk more about who really Ty is. And so I figure the best way to start this podcast is with a game. You down to play a quick little game?
Of course, I'm always down to play. You know, you can't be dub.
Here he go. We not in the house. Okay, this is real life, Ty.
Okay.
The game is we're going to share each other's thoughts, right? I would like to know what you thought of me prior to meeting, and then what's your thoughts on me after meeting. So we'll both have to answer, and I'll give you some time because I'll go first. Well, we met in Toronto when Brice and Win, Tour 44 came to Toronto. We did a panel and you spoke on it. So that was the first time we met. So the people know. And I, was super excited to meet Ty. Now, full disclosure, I don't watch Big Brother Canada when it airs. I kind of wait until the summertime and I can binge and kind of catch up. So I didn't know much about you. I knew that you won. I knew that you were into fitness, and I knew that you were a relatively attractive guy. And so in my mind, be honest, I was yeah, Ty and I are not going to get along, or I don't think that Ty is that's just my honest thoughts. So I remember I met Ty and we were in the room and I was like, Wendell, there go Ty, introduce me. You got to introduce me. And so then after that, that was our meeting. So that was what I thought of you. I thought he's going to just be historically the type of person that they put on. Knowing you after, I think completely changed my mind. I feel like you're such a positive, outgoing, actually shy, but outgoing, with your you make people feel comfortable. And so I was like, oh my God, Ty is really that bull. And so it was really surprising, but also so nice to actually genuinely get to know you and just seeing that you are an amazing person. So
that means a lot to me, more to me than you know. Thank you very much for those words, man.
That's my hot take.
Here you go. So I guess honestly, because I'm brand new to the reality space, I don't really try to judge people until I get to know them. So I guess my first thoughts of you, because I was talking mostly to Wendell when setting up that panel. I was like, oh, Wendell's the outgoing one. He's the more friendly person. And then Brice seems a little bit standoffish or just not as interested in getting to know me. And that was cool with me because I feel like at the end of the day, it's in person. It's always better to meet someone in person and feel them out that way. But yeah, my initial thoughts were always a bit standoffish. It wasn't as I guess welcoming as Wendell was.
Okay.
But then I obviously got to know you. Like you said, we met at the panel, and right away your vibes were great. You're very much like Wendell. You're very welcoming, and I think you've had a great relationship since then. Checking on each other, and it's just it's been love since I've actually met you in person. So your energy is great. Both you and Wendell have been amazing to me, and completely different than what I was initially expecting.
Okay, all right. I received that. My next question is, do you know how to actually spell my name? Because if y'all don't know,
first name?
My first name, Ty. Whenever Ty texts me, he loves to say Brice. I don't know who that is.
Yo, Brice.
Thank you.
I got
Ty
you.
will text me and I'll leave him on scene. I won't respond. Okay, I don't know who you texted. So we know you won Big Brother season 11. Were you a fan of Big Brother?
I didn't even know what really Big Brother was before my season. I understood the concept of it, just people competing in a house, and obviously there's one winner in the end, but I didn't really understand what the game was about or how to play it. But while going through the casting process, I watched 2 seasons because I figured it's best that I figure out what a HOH and a POV actually mean. But yeah, I wasn't a fan before. I'm obviously a fan now, being a part of it, but can never classify myself as a super fan because there's people who actually dedicate themselves to watching this show, and I think it would be disrespectful to them to ever say that I'm anywhere near that kind of level.
So did you apply to the show? Like, were you a
No,
recruit?
yeah, I was a recruit, so I got reached out to. Someone just said, "Yeah, we think you'd be a good fit for the show. What are your thoughts?" And I said, "Yeah, let's do it."
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay. So that okay, I feel like that kind of sort of makes a lot of sense when you after you saw those 2 seasons that you watched right before you went to the show, did you go into the house saying I can win, or did you go into the house being like I'm gonna just see what I could do and make the best of this situation?
I think with me, both on the show and in life, I try not to get too ahead of myself. Like, of course, I'm confident. I'm like, I'll figure out how to get this done. But it wasn't like I was going in there saying like it's gonna go this, like in this sequence because I didn't know what to expect. You know what I mean? Like brand new to the show, I know that there's a lot of twists and turns along the way. So it was just a matter of me taking things one step at a time. I knew that I wanted to walk in and solidify at least one strong relationship
Okay.
and then ride with that person to the end, ideally. That went to shit pretty quick. I don't know if I can swear on this, but obviously that went to shit really, really quickly. But again, going in there with like an open mind and realizing that and understanding I would need to be able to pivot because that's what the game's all about. You can't anticipate everything that's going to come to you, especially in that game. And yeah, so just it unfolded in the way I expected it to, which was being unpredictable.
Your season was definitely unpredictable to say the least. We saw you and Zach have a very close bond on the show. When Zach decided to leave the house, he expected you to leave the house with him.
Yeah.
Were Walk us through that. And why did you decide to stay?
Yeah, so obviously, a series of unfortunate events led to my guy leaving, and we both got caught in a situation that affected us both. That was my number one, and from my understanding, I was his number one as well. So, with him getting caught in that situation and ultimately deciding to leave, that was a huge part of my game. I didn't, from that point, I didn't think I was winning. I'm like, there's no way I can win this, especially with what was happening and how it kind of unfolded. I was like, there's really no way I can win this game. Maybe I'll survive 1 or 2 weeks, but I'm not going to be able to make it out of this. But in the end of it all, he walked out and I was contemplating doing the same. But the pride in me and the ego was a huge part of that, saying, I can't walk out like this and let these people think they ran me out of the house. And then two, we had letters from home, and mine was from my mom, and she was basically saying that seeing me on TV was like a one of the greatest joys of her life. So that was another thing that kind of like kept me there and just made me want to stick it through one more week. And then, sure enough, week by week, I was making it a little further until the point where I controlled the game. So it completely did a 360 from me not being able to see any way of winning the show to being like, there's almost no way I lose this at this point.
How important is your faith in your life?
Huge. I think that, someone like me, especially like growing up where I did, you have to have some kind of faith. 'Cause if you don't, you're going to fall victim to the circumstances that, you are
Where
ultimately.
did you grow up? Where did you live? Tell me
I mean,
more.
yeah, I'm from a neighborhood in Toronto, inner city kid. Finch and Western Road is exactly the intersection I grew up at. But yeah, a little neighborhood in Toronto. It's kind of like the hub, the center of a bunch of different, I guess, rival neighborhoods. So you get a lot of mixtures of people from different areas, but all coming from a very similar struggle, right? So very proud of where I grew up, and I love the upbringing that I had. I wouldn't change it for the world because it made me who I am. Showed me a whole different perspective of life, and like it makes you really appreciate all the opportunity. Like being on TV, coming from that is like a dream come true. So that was kind of my whole thing. It's like I don't care if I win the show. The fact that I'm on the show, coming from where I did, I won already. Because people are looking at me from back home saying like, "Yo, Ty really made it out." So that was enough for me to, even if I didn't walk away with the second place, like I said, just being on the show and on someone's TV screen, being a light of hope was like a huge win for me, and I was super grateful for the opportunity. And having won it was just like a bonus, like the cherry on top.
What's your background? I know that like when the show came out, they said you were a personal trainer. I know you
Yeah,
have like some military background. What were you doing before you went into the house?
yeah. So right before going into the house as a personal trainer, been doing that for 10 years. So I started that like graduating high school. So that's like really my bread and butter. I've always been an athlete. Grew up playing sports, damn near everything. And then
Can
in
you play
Brice,
soccer?
I started playing soccer, and I do play soccer.
I do.
I would twist you up in soccer. Anyways,
Ty, what we listen, you just recovered from an injury this
I'm
year,
still
right?
recovering. And I'll still twist you up.
So
Don't get
I'm
it
just
twisted.
saying, like, let's keep it cute now, because you don't want to see. Listen, ball
Woo!
gang might be your life on the basketball court, but you don't really want to see the baby boy on no soccer field.
We got to set it up. We'll set it up one day. I'm sure the people would want to see that. But yeah, I played soccer. That was like my original sport. I'd say throughout middle school, and then when I got to high school, it was basketball, and then college, we played 2 years of football before I got injured and had to stop. But yeah, I've been always been active for as long as I can remember, and that naturally led me into personal training, and I fell in love with just helping people reach their own goals. And then, like I said, grade 11, I joined the Army Reserves. My dad's been in, he's a vet probably like over 20 years now. So that was kind of in the back of my mind. It wasn't like he forced me to do it or anything, but it was always like in the back of my mind. And then I joined it. I loved it. I was great at it as well. And yeah, so I was in there for 2.5 years. And then when I went to the States for school, that's when I stopped with the Army stuff and really focused on sports and then getting my degree in athletic training. Came home, started my own personal training business, and that's what I did up until the show.
And now that you've won Big Brother, what are you doing now?
So now I'm gonna throw this out there because I know you're very well connected. So I'm trying to get on another TV show, The
Oh,
Challenge.
oh, so
Y'all need
you
some.
okay? Well, let's get into this. All right. Well, sorry, I asked you a question, so let me
That's
chill.
all right. Yeah, we'll finish it. We'll circle back. So definitely look at like that Big Brother experience was like incredible. Even with all the hurdles and the challenges that I went through, I wouldn't change anything. Like I said, I'm a very faithful person. I believe everything happens for a reason, and I was certain that in one way or another, shit was gonna straighten itself out, and it did because I ended up winning, given everything I went through. And I feel like that experience really opened my eyes to so many other opportunities that are out there. And I feel like, a show like The Challenge is great. But my boy Zach actually gave me the idea when we were in the house. He's like, bro, like you need to start like a coaching program and kind of teach people how your mindset works and how to, get themselves out of that sunken place and like believing in themselves and like pursuing things and goals that they feel maybe out of their reach. You know what I mean? Because I
It's
feel
like you want to put yourself in like a top performer arena or
like a
something.
top performer arena. If you want to, if you want to perform at your best, you got to be in that type of environment. So I think it's important to surround yourself with people who believe in you and who are doing the things that you say you want to do. Because then when you see others doing it, it gives yourself that belief. Oh, it can be done. I can do it too. So that's kind of the basis of the business that I just started, Top Performers Arena, like you said, just creating a community for people to connect with each other, share their goals, their aspirations, keep each other accountable to doing what they say they're going to do, and obviously having me to back them up and like provide them resources and mentorship to get them to that next level.
So, how has that been going being a success coach?
Yeah, it's great. It's also challenging because I have to. It's tough for me to weed out the people who are actually interested in coaching and those who just want to sit and have a conversation with me. Coming after the show. So that's just like the little bit of a hurdle. It's a good problem to have, I guess, but nonetheless, it's like any other business, you're gonna have to figure out what works and what doesn't. And it being in we're in the infancy stage of the business. I'm still figuring out how to optimize, I guess, my operations and obviously still making sure I provide a great service to the people that I'm working with.
So, what does something like that look like? If I was interested in a success coach,
Yeah.
what would a plan be like, or like what's an intro to that?
So obviously we start off with a very just general conversation. Like my goal is to you know figure out what your biggest goals are. Like we're gonna go so far into like to a point where you feel like almost nervous to tell me because it sounds so outrageous. You know what I mean? I think that, like I said, we oftentimes kind of diminish our goals because we want to make it sound realistic or whatever. Like I said, coming from where I'm coming from, there's no way you're making it on TV. So I already proved that wrong. Like there's no goal or no dream too big. So that's kind of where I start off with people. It's like, what is the goal that scares you to speak out loud? And then we kind of break it down from there over weeks at a time into actionable steps on how we're going to get there. Breaking it down to things that are not so scary, and then before you know it, you're going to be inching yourself towards that, and then you're going to look up and it'll be right there. So it's tailored to everybody depending on what your goals are. Some have very straightforward goals. Others have goals that you have to be a little bit more creative in terms of your approach to them. So we have to be mindful of that. But nonetheless, the overall approach is very simple. Figure out what the big scary thing is and then break it down to things that are not so scary to get us there.
I love that because I feel like, especially like in the Black community and people of color, right? We don't seek coaching, right? Or counseling a
Yeah.
lot. But you think when you're in school and you're struggling with math, like, you got to stay after school, or you need a tutor. And so I really love the fact that you are doing like this success coaching, because there are so many things in life that, we're figuring out or just learning. And if you have a method that works, right, like share it. And I
Yep.
think that there's so many times in life that we just hold things inside and we're just like, oh, I'll just never figure it out. No,
Exactly.
like there's things out there, there's coaches and different things. So I
Yeah.
absolutely love that.
Appreciate
Um,
that.
where can people find it? We know it's Top Performers Arena, but
Yep. You
where can
can
they go?
you can find us on Instagram. Obviously, you can check on my personal page. There's a application in my bio if you were interested. You can also just shoot me a DM, like I said, on my personal page or the business page, which is Top Performers Arena. Give you some more information on that. And you'll see the website in my bio, so you can't miss it.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the show, you and Kuzi had a fun partnership in the house. Are you guys still friends?
Kuzi's my dog, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, look cool.
You won 5 vetoes, two
Yeah,
HOHs.
yeah.
Do you think, without you winning how you won all of those vetoes and HOHs, do you think that you would still be the winner if you had to rely on your social abilities?
I think yes, for the simple fact of the level of adversity I had to maneuver. So it's like it might have actually worked out even better for me, like in terms of my finale speech, for example, because in the end, people said all I had was my comps to back me up. But if I had made it to finale without the comp wins, then what are they going to say about that? It had to have been my social or my strategy, right? So I think because I had so many comp wins, it kind of overshadows my social, my strategy. So to answer your question, yeah, I feel like if I did have to rely on my social and I still made it to the end, given everything I went through, that would have spoken more to my game than just having won 9 competitions overall. So yeah, I had my 2 HOHs, my 5 POVs. I had a chain of safety win and a final, or sorry, part 2 final HOH. We're not gonna overlook those, all right?
Okay, all right. Ty had them ready. He was ready. So you killed it. Can't take that away from you. We know your season had its challenges. You received a lot of heat in
Yeah.
regarding to the way that you spoke to a lot of your housemates. Do
Yeah.
you feel like what was shown actively depicts who you are?
Yes and no. When I came off and I seen how much heat I was getting, I was like, damn, they must have shown some crazy stuff. So I watched it myself. And there's moments where I can see I'm frustrated and I'm talking a little bit stern or whatever, but there's nothing that I feel like I would have to circle back and apologize to anybody for. If I'm talking to you a certain way, it's because you probably crossed me in a certain way. And I feel like I'm a very fair person. If I'm wrong, if I feel I'm wrong, I'm gonna say I'm sorry. Like I fucked up, I apologize. But there's nothing that I seen on the show that made me feel uncomfortable watching. Like I couldn't be like justifying it. Am I always nice? No, but who's always nice in the house? Like it's the whole point of the game. Whole point of the game is to like make people frustrated, make people anxious. Like you're wondering who you can trust. For me, I couldn't trust anybody. Everybody was against me. So it's like, what do I look like talking nicely to everybody all the time when I know they're not doing that for me? You know what I mean? So yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, and I was gonna say, I think that, like, again, because I've seen some clips,
Yeah.
and you talk a little, you get a little crazy sometimes, right? But I think it's also important to remember, like you just said, like, and I feel like also what is, I'm gonna say also and yeah, like a billion times, but I feel like a part of me wanting to have this conversation with you is really to get to know you more, right?
Yeah.
And clearly knowing your background,
Yeah.
clearly seeing how goal oriented you are. You weren't really a fan of the show. You
Yeah.
got thrown into it, and it's
Yeah.
like you're on go mode, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think that it's important to remember that you're playing a game,
Yeah.
and there is you in the house and then you outside of the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that with
So
take it with like a grain of salt, but
yeah.
I
Can
feel
I
like
jump in for
there
one
is,
second?
yeah.
I guess what I should have said, and I think that what was showing, like the not so nice sides of me that were shown, are accurate. But I also think that to that, all the good things about me were not shown. So it emphasizes, oh, Ty is only this. When the reason why people would go into the DRs and say the person I trust the most, for example, is Ty, is because I had great moments with everybody where they seen a softer side of me, a kinder side of me. I was always looking out for other people. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I have my moments where I'm frustrated, and of course, production has to paint their narrative, and Ty has to be the villain. So they're going to emphasize those moments when I'm frustrated and I'm talking a little more sternly to somebody, but they're not going to highlight, when someone's breaking down, crying, and spilling their life story to me, and I'm consoling them, right? Because that's not the direction they're trying to take it. So, and then to my upbringing, it's just like that's how I was brought up in a way where it's like you got to be tough, bro. Like suck it up, stop crying about it. It's not a matter of being mean to anybody. It's just a very matter of fact way of approaching situations, and that's I still carry that to this day. But I try to be a little bit more understanding that not everybody grew up the way I grew up, so that's not going to be okay with everybody, So it's finding that balance of being myself and then also trying to again take into account that not everybody is like me.
How did that edit and that perception affect you?
On a personal level,
Mm-hmm.
it was a little frustrating, but when I was in the house, I got the idea already of how I was being portrayed. So I feel like by the time I had came off the show, I already had time to process. I'm like, yeah, people already think this way about me. It is what it is. Like I wasn't stressed about it. I also, like I said, I come from a certain upbringing, and I've been in predominantly white schools where I was the black sheep just because of my appearance, right? So I'm already used to being judged in certain ways and kind of looked at in certain lights. So it didn't really bother me. It wasn't nothing that I wasn't already accustomed to before going on the show, right? So for me, it was just a matter of, giving it time, and like people will eventually get to meet me in person if they take the time to do so, and they can make their actual judgment off me then. Judging me from a TV show and an edit is one thing, but when you get to know somebody, it's a very different thing. So yeah, I wasn't really stressed about it at all. I mean, it was going to be what it was going to be, and I told production like, listen, people are either going to love me or hate me. There's not going to be no in between, and that's what happened, right? So I wasn't lying, and that's what came to fruition.
I think something that in this conversation is very interesting to me. You keep referring to that's how you were raised and like
Yeah.
that's where you come from. And for me, historically in my life as like a gay black man, when meet people that talk like that or say that like that's where I'm from, that's what made me. I always am like, like we not gonna get along.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be cool with this person because I don't think that they're going to be able to receive me for who I am.
Yeah.
However, I again am so shocked at how open you are.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, like in my life, I struggle making connections specifically with like black men, right? Because
Yeah.
how I was grown up and I was teased, I was bullied, I went through a lot. And so the person that you see today, I still have some of those traumas and triggers with me. And so when
Right.
I see someone that looks like you, that has that persona of, I'm good at every sport. Y'all gonna see me, it makes up again. I feel like that's where we played this game and you said it seemed like I was a little standoffish. It's almost like I was kind of preparing myself for you to be
Yeah.
the asshole jerk that I
Yeah.
saw. And I'm like, let me protect my peace. We in this space. So I'ma say hi, what's up, and keep it
Keep it
moving.
moving.
But I again was so shocked by how when we talked and I joke around, I can't help but to just cut up with people. That's like in my nature. I was surprised at how well you took to it. And when we talked, or you just made me feel like a person, or you just I felt and I received it. And watching and getting to know you better, like you were very cool with John Michael, you're cool with Daniel from your season, you're cool from Josh, Braden, Jay. I love how you love this, like the queer men and the LGBTQ plus community. Would you consider yourself an ally?
It's funny you say that. Somebody asked me that maybe 2 weeks ago. What is an ally? Because the person I was talking to is very problematic, and I feel like they were just trying to get a certain answer out of me. So I'd rather hear from someone like yourself who's not looking for to catch me slipping up in any sort of way. What is an ally?
Well, I'm gonna catch you slipping on that soccer field. So I am looking to catch you up. So what my personal definition of, and again, it's an interesting subject
Yeah,
that I have, right? Because I'm a gay black man, right? And
yeah,
sometimes I don't always agree with the LGBTQ plus
yeah,
community because I feel like it is not a community. It's a community, but I'm still a minority in that community,
yeah.
right? So struggle always saying things and different things. But for me personally, I would say that you're an ally. Before I did this interview, I had to call my friends up, Josh, and I was like, "How? Like, what's your relationship like with you?" And
Mm,
again, Josh, him and I just kind of went back and forth about our similarities about you. So my
mm,
thing is, for me, an ally is someone that sees people as people,
yeah,
acknowledges them, supports them, and shows up for them,
yeah,
and stands up for them.
yeah. No,
So that's my
100%.
definition.
If that's what an ally is, then yeah, I'm definitely an ally. Like for me, I like we all have our different struggles, myself included. I'm not a gay black man by any means, obviously, but nonetheless, I still had my things where I feel like I struggled through, and I didn't want to be judged or looked down upon or told that I was wrong for being different. So who do I think I am to put those types of judgments onto other people? Because we have differences in certain senses. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like, yeah, like if whatever makes you happy, do your thing. You know what I mean? Like there's straight people who I feel like make me uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like there's gay people who make me feel uncomfortable. You're not one of them. DC's not one of them. Josh is not one. So as long as you're respecting me, that same level of respect is gonna be reciprocated. You know what I mean? So I don't care if you're black, white, yellow, orange, gay, straight, curved. I don't know what. It doesn't matter to me.
Not
It
curved.
doesn't matter to me. You know what I mean? So it's like as long as the respect is there, it's always gonna be shown back, and that's how I live my life. I don't have the energy to be judging people for their own, like, live your life. You have one life, whatever makes you happy, do that. You know what I mean?
I respect that. I feel like in talking to you more, I sometimes I feel like it's like your delivery, right? Like I
Mm.
feel like you're just you a matter of fact, and it's like, like I don't know
Yeah,
the
I
words that I
gotta
want
chill
to.
out a little bit. I know, I'm sorry. I'm just like just
No,
getting
I
interested.
get it. Like I receive it, but
Yeah,
it's just interesting. Again, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this 101
of course.
was like I want to know more about Ty. But
Mhm.
it's not even like your delivery. I feel like it's like your what's the word that I want to use? And again, just positive. It's like you're just like a very like matter of fact person, right? So
Yeah,
it's like to people that don't know it, like it's like,
could be a
what
lot.
is
Yeah,
he
a lot
saying? What is he
intimidating. Like
doing? But
it's
it's like
yeah.
like, yo, I love everybody. Everybody. I love everybody. It's like, oh, okay, Ty. All right.
I do. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
You
like I
gay.
said,
I love you. You
I love you
straight.
too.
I love you. All right. Okay. But again, but knowing your background, knowing your upbringing, like, it all makes sense. And so we saw you when Claudia on the show had a little tight little showmance.
Yeah,
Uh
I wouldn't say
you
tight,
guys
but yeah.
you guys still friends?
Listen, I can't, I feel like I've done quite a few interviews and podcasts where I talk on the situation. Um, I think I'm at a point now where I can't really speak for both of us. I know that on my side, I'm great. I'll always want the best for her. You know what I mean? She was a significant part of my experience on Big Brother. I can never downplay that by any measure, and nor would I want to. I'm like I said, I'm great on my side. We don't really talk. I haven't talked to her in a while. I'm not avoiding her. I don't know if she's avoiding me or whatever, but we haven't talked in a while. But it's all love on my side, and that's how it'll stay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Ty single?
I am single. I am
Oh,
single. So
okay.
I plan on keeping it that way. I feel like people are trying to distract me a lot.
Oh, so that's a is that a as a success coach, you
Mm.
staying away. Okay.
I'm trying to stay away. I'm trying to, stay in my bag.
So do you want to get married?
Of course. I think that's a big thing for me. I didn't see a healthy relationship growing up to model myself after it. And I think that's where a lot of my current issues come from. And I got to take responsibility for that myself. I feel like I have a lot of healing to do, a lot of like rewiring what a healthy relationship looks like. My mom and my dad split up before I was even born, so I never saw my mom and my dad together. My dad was in the army, so he was away a lot too. So I think I'm at a point now where I just care for peace and like a respectful relationship with somebody. It's not even like I'm trying to just jump straight into labels and all that. Like if I need to build something that I feel is genuine with somebody and that like I can respect, who respects me, who can see me for who I am, because I know I'm gonna see you for who you are and like still accept it, and then build something from there. So yeah, I feel like it's a lot of work on my side that I got to do, but I acknowledge that, you know what I mean, and I'm not afraid. I'm never afraid of the work. So I'm just looking to take my time and not continuously make the same mistakes over and over again.
What? But they say when love happens, it happens. You know, people say like I'm not looking for love, and then you find love. So the door is not closed to love. You just saying like it's
No,
not open.
it's definitely not closed. It's just not the priority. I'm not out there hunting. If it comes, it comes. You know what I mean? If I run into somebody that I just vibe with and it just works, then yeah, I'm not gonna shut it down by any means. But I'm not out here on all the apps trying to find love. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's some criterias of like the queen that Ty would want? What are some of the things?
Ooh.
That's what we want to know.
Yeah, the T. You guys want the T?
Not the tea.
Definitely somebody that is respectful. That's always gonna be number one for me. If I can't respect you and the people around you don't respect you, then it's not it. Because you got to respect yourself too. You got to hold yourself to a certain standard. Because I know I hold myself to a certain standard. That's number that's
We
number one.
know.
That's number one. And I feel like someone who's ambitious, like you need to have, goals of your own. I don't think. I mean, can only speak for myself. I don't like living through somebody else, and nor do I want somebody else living through me. You know what I mean? It's great to support each other, but you also need to have something going for yourself. I want to be able to look at my other half and be like, yo, that's motivating. I got to do more because she's outworking me right now. A healthy competition. So that's something that I definitely would want in somebody. Strong family, I guess, morals, like family oriented,
Okay.
care about your people. It's just very simple stuff. Honest, trustworthy, someone of integrity, someone that I can trust to leave, for an extended period of time and I have to worry about what's going on. You know what I mean? I think
Okay.
it's very standard things. I don't think I'm asking for anything too crazy. You know what I mean?
I mean, if that's also standard, then why you not in love and in a relationship?
Because those things aren't standard in today's day and age, at least with the people that I run into. So,
Okay.
and I think, like I said, for me, I have stuff to work on myself. So it's not to
Right.
say I'm perfect by any means, So
So and
obviously,
you keep saying that. Are
yeah.
you what does working on it mean though?
I think that for me, it's identifying, like even in my like interactions in the Big Brother house, and like realizing what has rubbed people the wrong way. Why were people able to make me this bad person? What qualities did they see in me that I need to work on? Whether I feel like it's a fault of mine or not, it's being received the wrong way. So how can I reframe it so that it's not being received? Because I never mean ill intent to anybody. But if people are receiving it that way, then obviously my delivery, like you said,
Mhm.
is wrong. So it's like little things like that where, for example, like it's something so small, but sometimes I'll be frustrated with like a text message. And now instead of like immediately replying, I'm like, let me take 5 minutes before I reply so I can actually respond with kindness and not just impulsiveness and like being rude or being very short or whatever. So little things like that, we're just like acknowledging and identifying, my interaction with people, even in an intimate setting, like to make sure that someone feels like I'm not coming with a certain type of energy that I don't want them to be receiving from me.
How well do you take the criticism?
I I think I do really well with criticism, and you're not going to see me going back and forth with it. Like I've gotten a ton of feedback on what people don't
No,
like
but
about
I'm
me.
talking more like in a personal level. Like, say you have
Oh
like a friend or a partner that's like, I don't like when you do like,
yeah,
like, are you able in like real time to
well
reflect on that? Or
no,
because that's something that I struggle with too. Because
yeah,
for me, one of my toxic traits is like I just shut down, I
yeah.
ghost.
That
So
is my toxic trait, and that's the thing. Like I said, I'm aware of. Like I try my best not to shut down. Now. I'm very communicative, and I listen. But I think this ties into the traits that I'm looking for in somebody. It's someone that's respectful. So I think it's all about like if you're coming to me saying I don't like X, Y, and Z about you, or X, Y, and Z things that you've done. It's all about how they're coming to me. If they're coming to me trying to like talk down on me, that's where I'm like, okay, we're not having this conversation because you're not going to disrespect me. However, if you're coming to me like this is something that matters to me, so I'm just wanting to point it out to you, that's a very different conversation. I'm very receptive to that. More than happy to like take that, process it, and say, okay, like how do I move forward? to not let this happen again, kind of thing. So yeah, I'm very receptive as long as the delivery is right. And that's what I'm saying. Like for me, I'm working on my delivery with people, because if I'm trying to communicate and they're taking offense to it, it's not their fault that they're getting upset. It's my delivery. I got to figure out how to deliver it better.
But I also think we have to, and I don't know how this, like, mind you, I am loving this conversation. I feel like these are the conversations I have with my friends, and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
talking. And again, I'm saying everything with love. So I
cool.
just hope that this is just randomly coming up to me. But sometimes I feel, for me personally, I agree with you, right? Where it's like, you'll come at me crazy, I ain't gonna come
Yeah,
at you
yeah,
crazy. But I also feel like a part of my journey on my podcast, I always say I'm on a road to a better Brice, right? And I think that what I have to be aware of is that I need to prepare for when they're talking to me like that crazy.
yeah,
Cause that's my trigger, right? Cause then I'm gonna
yeah,
go like, so do you think about it like that? Like, even if somebody is talking to you crazy, like, my response isn't going, like, me on a road to a better Brice is like, I need to.
yeah. No, I definitely see what you're saying, and like I definitely agree. I just think, I guess what I was trying to say is like, if somebody's coming to me from that space and energy of like being confrontational, I'm not going to engage, because I don't want to be in confrontation. You know what I mean? It's completely fine to voice your opinion and like what you are feeling, but as long as there's respect behind it. But as soon as there's
Right.
no, if there's disrespect behind it, then it's like it's not a constructive conversation anymore. It's just you trying to put me down, you know. So we're not going to have this conversation, because I don't want to engage with that energy. So once you calm down, then we can circle back and try to talk like respectable human beings. But until we're at that point, then I'm not going to engage in it. I just don't want the energy. I don't have it.
I had this thing with my friends and people that are close in my life when we need to talk about something that might trigger the other person, or it's a could potentially be a heated conversation. I always say the sharing is caring table, right? So
Yeah,
I will be like, Ty, is the sharing is caring table open? And you can agree that it is or
yeah,
agree that it's not. But essentially, like, the sharing is caring table means that it might be some difficult conversations, or it might be something that you don't like, but the sharing is caring table is open. So you have to receive what I'm saying. And even if you don't like it, it's coming with love, or like,
yeah,
it's like kind of like setting the mood or
mhm,
setting the intention of the conversation. So it's like, yeah, I might bring you some ish that you ain't gonna like, but you've agreed to be in the sharing and
yeah,
caring table. So you have to respond accordingly.
yeah, yeah. No, I like that. I like that for sure. I feel like eventually you should be able to get to a point where you don't even need to set it.
Oh no, yeah. Well, I mean, listen, like I said, I'm on a journey, Ty.
It's a journey.
So,
It's a journey. It's a journey.
so I don't
It's
know if
work in
I'm ever
progress.
going to get to that destination. So that's why we set the sharing is caring
Listen, if it
table.
works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right? So
Okay. Uh how so what other reality shows do you watch?
none. I don't watch TV. That's the problem. I don't watch TV. I'm just gonna be real. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and say I watch all these things just to try to get on them. No, it's a different story. If I'm on it, I'm gonna watch it. But I don't really watch TV. I'm a big documentary guy, and that's if I do end up watching anything.
So for those that are listening, we are on YouTube, the Bryce Isaiah YouTube channel. And so Ty, what's behind you?
This big old
Hmm.
TV
Oh,
that I game on.
okay.
Oh, oh. Yeah, listen, my guilty pleasure is video games. I much rather play video games than to watch TV, if I'm being completely honest with you.
You got the headphone sets with
I
the
got I don't it's just a basic PS5 headset. I'm not like crazy over the top with the lights and all that stuff, but it gets the job done and I'm pretty good at whatever I play.
it's funny how he's trying to downplay, like, it's just the basic. But so where are you currently in your house though?
It's the game room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the game room.
But he don't got nothing extra. This man got
It's
a
the game room.
designated game room. What type of games do you play?
Oh man, I play. You got Call of Duty, FIFA, Overwatch. I play 2K here and there, but those are the big three: is FIFA, Overwatch, Call of Duty. Those are the big three.
How much time in a day or a week would you say you spend in the realm of the game room?
Probably at least an hour and a half minimum.
He lying.
hour and a half. I said minimum. I said minimum.
Minimum.
Hour
Oh, okay.
and a half minimum. Yeah, I would say because I'm usually out and about from early on, but once I get home, I'm like locked in here. So it just depends on what's going on for that day. But I'm out and about from pretty early on, doing yoga, gym, physio, whatever I'm doing. Get home at whatever time depends on the day, and then once I'm free, shower, eat, and I'm locked in.
So you talk about your experience on Big Brother Canada. If Big Brother Canada call and say we doing an all-star, are you in or you got to think about it?
I'm already at the front door. Open the
Ah,
doors. I'm here. What are we talking about?
uh,
What are we talking about? I'm ready to go.
okay.
I've
Now,
been ready.
so you want to be on the challenge, right? Like, because I
Yeah.
personally, I think you would be great on the Challenge USA.
I don't know what's going on. What they see the comp wins. You guys scared to have me over there? Hey, listen, who's doing the casting over there? Are you guys scared to have me over there or what? I heard they had some Canadians on Survivor and then Canadians kept winning, so they said no more.
I mean, the Canadians, y'all do your thing. I ain't going mad. I ain't listen. I mean, I was
Woo!
out. Listen, I was in Toronto a couple of times. I have a great time. I love my Canadian brothers.
Yes, no.
Um,
I definitely would do the challenge, bro. I think that's like, even in the house, I didn't know what the challenge was. Like I said, I barely knew what Big Brother was. But when we were in the house and I started on my little comp run, everyone's like, Ty, you gotta go on the challenge next. I'm like, what the hell's the challenge? They're like, it's basically Big Brother, but just physical. I said, oh, okay, that sounds like my game. So I'm
yeah,
definitely open to it.
I think you would do great. I think your energy would be very interesting to watch in the game, especially when it comes to the challenges, because it's like
Yeah,
clearly when you get locked in, it's
game time.
clearly we
Game time.
see. Um, how important is legacy to you?
Huge. To me, that's one of the most important things. I think that legacy is a great indicator of the energy you bring to the world. You know what I mean? Like for me, we actually talked about this when we were in Big Brother 2. We're like, yo, who would you rather the win in money or the win and a legacy? Like, what's more important to you, or to just leave a legacy and not win? Um, and obviously, most people are saying, yo, I want to win in the money. I'm like, yeah, but it's like I could be remembered as a great in this game just because of my storyline and like what I brought to the game of Big Brother. You know what I mean? The money will come and go. You can make $100,000. I mean, little Trump change over here compared to you guys over there, but nonetheless, like I can make that myself. But if I play this game and I'm forgotten, then it was like, what was this all for? So I definitely think that legacy is a huge thing in not even just in reality TV, but just in life in general. Just like making sure the energy you bring to the world is something that will be remembered long after your physical being is no longer here.
What's a legacy you want to leave?
Somebody who cared, and I use that very broad, like cared about his friends, their family, you know, being a better person himself and like growing as an individual and like breaking, if you want to call them generational curses, like things like that. Someone who just cares and is like positive. I want people to like when they experience me, they just feel like, yo, Tyler is a good guy. That's a big thing for me. Just Ty is a good person.
What is the Georgina Barkhouse Foundation?
That is the non-for-profit foundation or organization I named after my mom, Georgina Barkhouse. And basically, I've been doing charity for years, long before I got on TV. But once I got off, she was such a big part of my journey in the Big Brother house that I felt it was only right that I solidified something in her name and continue to do my work, having her name as the storefront, if that makes sense. So any kind of initiatives that I do move forward when it comes to charity will be under that name, so that her name, I can start building a legacy for her. So, going back to legacy, I think that's a huge thing. I don't want once my mom's time expires, knock on wood, it's no time soon, that there's going to be something here to remind people of her.
And so, what are some of the things that you have done with the foundation?
So in August, we did a back to school um, event where we raised money for back to school supplies and backpacks for the local elementary school in my neighborhood, the one I actually went to as a kid. And then in December, so right before Christmas, we did a toy drive and we raised funds and collected brand new toys for the local daycare center that I went to when I was a kid as well, and send that over to them. And I'm actually planning the next. Well, I'm in the very early stages. I don't want to say anything too soon, but the next one, if it plays out the way I see it in the summer, it's gonna be a movie. That's all I'm gonna say. So stay tuned for that.
Okay, my wheelhouse is turning.
Yeah, we can talk about that off record.
Okay, all right. Well, I want all the tea. How does Georgina feel about you naming a foundation after her?
To be completely fair, I haven't really asked her about it. It's not like something I was doing to get praise from her or anything about. I'm sure she's happy about it. My mom, like, I can never do no wrong in my mom's eyes. Like, I think that anybody can say that about their mom. Like, your mom is always going to be your biggest cheerleader, and that's no different with mine. So I'm sure she's like super happy that I've done something in her name. But yeah, it's not something that I've actually sat down and be like, hey mom, how do you feel about this? It's not something I've done. Yeah.
Okay. Do you cook?
I can cook. That's what you're asking me. I can cook.
No, that was
Yeah,
the question.
yeah. I can cook. I do cook. But I just make the very basic. You're not gonna get any like
I-
5-star meals from me. I'll tell you that right now.
It's giving grilled chicken,
That is exactly what it's giving. Grilled chicken and
rice,
some rice and some broccoli.
and some broccoli. Or I mean, on a Thursday, you might get a little funky with it and do
Yeah.
some ground beef.
Yeah. You might get some ground beef.
You see, like
Nice.
I see why the people take issue with Ty, right? I say, you cook? Yeah, I could cook.
I can
Now,
cook.
somebody that says that, you be
Listen.
like, oh, they could cook. This man over here grilling chicken and rice.
So listen, why am I gonna sit here and talk about my cooking game just for me to get called out in real life one day and show you that I can't make an
So
extravagant
they say you can't.
but I can, but just
But
not.
you
I'm
can't,
not
though.
making all 5
Grilled
stars.
chicken and rice ain't cooking, Ty.
So that's not cooking.
It's not. And I haven't seen it because your chicken could be nasty.
All right. So next time I have it, I'm gonna send you a picture.
Please.
Then you can let the people know.
Oh, and then I'm gonna let you know.
All right.
But address it to BRICE.
I got you. Yeah, I see. I got you this time.
What I can cook. Okay.
What do you cook? Listen, it's a lot of hesitation.
I'm sorry. The question is
Okay.
what I cannot cook.
All right. My bad. Sorry.
Because I could cook. Ty, I'm out here trying to find me 2024. I'm trying to find the love of my life out here. So I gotta make sure
There's a couple guys over here looking for the same. So I don't know what you're doing. You're slacking right now.
I mean, but listen, I gotta come to Toronto because first of all, I was in Toronto and
okay, first of all, there's no CH in Toronto. Okay?
So well, here's the thing though, because I was talking to somebody from the 6.
They're not from the 6, and they told you to say it like that.
No, but listen, because I was like, hey, we in the 6. They was like, nah, don't say that. And so I kept saying Toronto. And there's like, that's so no, they were telling me that's not how I say it. They're like, you're saying it.
What's the name?
Toronto.
No, who told you that?
I mean, listen, we don't.
You said you're here for all the team. Stir the pot a little bit. What are we doing?
Listen.
Either way, Trey, let me tell you, I'm from Toronto, okay? If you're saying CH, you're from the GTA. You're not from Toronto. And anybody from Toronto will verify that for you, okay?
So, because we need to clear this up right now. So when I said Toronto, I was right.
Toronto. Yeah, exactly how you said it, you're good. Toronto is someone who's like from the States. When you're pronouncing
that's how I was saying it. Toronto.
Yeah, that's how you were saying it. I can tell you're not from here, but it's better than Toronto. Toronto is like you're from Hamilton or like Oakville, somewhere in the GTA. You're not from Toronto. You're from the outskirts. Okay? The more you know.
It took me about 30 minutes, Ty, to get Toronto down. And so now you're telling me I was saying it right the whole time.
The whole time. Yeah. Toronto. Say it. Toronto. Boom. Just like that.
Do you listen to Drake?
Come on. Is water wet? Come on, man. That's the goal. Of course I do. That's my favorite artist. The most legendary.
It's like, Ty, I be wanting to like, it's like.
He's a legend. Who doesn't listen to Drake? That's a better question.
Now Ty still in my lines. No, okay. Listen,
No, I definitely listen to Drake. That's honestly like he's been one of my favorite artists like for longer than I can remember. Like I remember being in high school and just like resonating with the songs. And I'm like, man, this guy's been crazy. He's just been relevant for over a decade straight. Like he hasn't had a fall off. One of the
Well,
best
I
artists of our
mean,
century. Who? When has he ever fallen off? I'll wait.
considering some of the things that got leaked not that long ago, I mean, I
Hey
wouldn't call it
man,
a falling
listen,
off.
I'm not.
I mean, listen,
I can't
we
speak on another man's situation. You know what I mean, I won't do that.
but you can ask me. That's why we friends, Ty. So I could tell you. But no, 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 I love Drake though.
Legend.
I knew that. I feel like you are predictable in some ways, but you're not predictable in other ways.
Predictable in that I like Drake.
Like I just knew that, like you like Drake. I knew
Yeah,
there'd be chicken and broccoli.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like you're just. I feel like you're a very. It's that military background, or I could just
Yeah.
tell that you're a very like.
Regimented.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't use words. I'm like, you're
Yeah.
very you like regiment,
You got it
right?
though.
Regiment. No, but it's like, do you think you have a type A or type B personality?
You got to break those down. What does that mean?
Cause I don't really know, but I
Yeah.
feel like
So hold on. I feel like isn't type A like
I feel like type A is
the alpha male? No.
I don't think it has anything to do with like alpha male, but it's like you're very like organized, you're very like
Oh, okay,
scheduled,
okay.
detailed, you're very
Oh yeah,
like
and type B is like very creative. They're very go with the flow kind of thing.
C.
Well, in type A, so that's the thing. I'm actually a very creative person.
No,
Like people wouldn't
yeah.
see that. But I have elements of both, and I feel like obviously everybody to a certain degree can be one or the other. Um, I don't like there's certain things that are very regimented. Yeah, like my in the house. But when I'm outside, I very much like to experiment. I like to try different things, push myself out of my comfort zone, and like build new skills and like try new businesses that I had no idea about. So in that sense, I'm more type B in the outside world, but in the house, yeah, I'm probably more type A, if that
Mm,
makes sense.
yeah, no, it definitely does. I think it's again, I'm understanding you more, and it makes me appreciate it because it's like sorry. I love it.
Yeah,
Um
definitely.
What I mean, mind you, I had so many other questions for you, but I just feel like this conversation has just taken a life of its own, and I really
Yeah,
appreciate it, which is what I wanted this conversation to be.
of course.
Um, if you could give advice to 6-year-old Tyrell
Mhm.
from yourself now, what would it be?
Just keep being you. I feel like from a young, probably even around that age, to be honest with you, I knew that I was a little bit different from the people that I was growing up around. I don't think I understood exactly how, but I just felt like now looking back, I was already thinking, excuse me, bigger than my circumstances, bigger than my neighborhood. Like outside, there's a world out there to see. I wasn't in the I guess bird cage if you want to call it that. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't like this is all there is. So if I'm talking to my 6-year-old self, it's just keep going, keep being yourself, and keep dreaming big. Because I always had these great big dreams, but I always was never afraid to pursue them. It wasn't like oh it's too big, it will never happen. I didn't know how it happened. Like I didn't know. It's crazy. Like one of my affirmations as a kid was like I'm gonna be on TV and tell my mom I love her. I didn't know how the hell I was gonna do that, and I did it on Big Brother Canada and then won the show. So it's just like the energy you put out there. That's why I'm a big believer in the universe and like energy and like I'm spiritual. I'm not religious because I think it's disrespectful for me to call myself religious when there's people out there who follow the Bible or the Quran religiously. I'm definitely not that person, but I do believe in a higher power, a higher being, something greater than us here on this earth. And I feel like I've been very connected with that higher source at a very young age. And it's just a matter of submitting to the time it'll take for those, I guess, visions to come to fruition. And that was very much the case. So talking to my younger self is just keep dreaming big, keep being yourself, and just keep pushing forward. Don't stop.
I love that. I agree so much with you. I think sometimes have a hard time admitting to myself because I was born in the church. Like I'm very spiritual, right? Like
Mhm.
I'm a Christian born, but I just
Yeah.
find that the older and the knowledge of some things that I have, it's like, I don't know if I can subscribe to everything,
Yeah.
but you're right. Like, I for sure believe in a higher power. I for sure believe in a lot of things. And so I completely agree with you with being spiritual. Now, change the subject real quick. You believe in aliens?
Uh, yes. Do I think that they're little green people with big ass heads? I don't know how they look, but I do think that it'd be pretty ignorant, I think, to think that we are the only life forms out there, given how much we are constantly learning about ourselves, let alone what's out there. And there's so much out there and it's ever growing, right? And that's science. So it's not even like I'm just putting out a theory. So yeah, I do think that there's other life forms out there. And I think, someday we'll make contact and we'll be like, damn, so there actually is something there. If we haven't already. That's if we
Right.
haven't already.
Talk
So
about it,
yeah, so
because
I love my life. I'm not trying to get killed, so I'm not gonna say too
no,
much.
ain't no who try. I'm just
I'm not trying to
saying.
accuse anybody of anything. I'm just saying, if they're out there, I wouldn't be mad about it.
I
You know?
think they here because it's been a lot of spottings. It's been a lot of
Yeah. So you
I don't know.
think they're out there?
Oh, I 1,000%. I feel like when I was in 10th grade, I took an astronomy class.
Yeah.
And I think at that time, I really kind of grasped how small our universe is
Yeah.
compared to the other universes.
Yeah.
And our human mind can't really even grasp the space out there.
Yeah.
So you're right. Like mathematically, it would be crazy to think that in that huge space that we're the only
Beings.
beings out there.
Yeah.
But I believe some of them are here. Oh, I mean,
Yeah. It would be pretty. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, it sounds crazy, but the more you think about things and even the stuff that's going on in our world now, it's just like, oh, it wouldn't be too crazy to think that it's actually happening.
right. I think one of the we were just taught that they little green people, but
Yeah.
they ain't little green. Like
Yeah.
I just feel like
I think the shifting point for me, and I don't know when I learned this. I was young, but I just don't know how young, was when the whole pyramids thing came up of how the hell did these people build the pyramids? We could barely do that today with today's technology, construction technology. And you're telling me that these freaking people, human beings, lift these big ass boulders and stack them? Nah, that's not making sense to me.
well, I mean,
We're strong, but that's superhuman. That doesn't make no sense.
I'm just saying they weren't eating they weren't eating that Thai chicken
That's
and
it.
rice. Like they was eating different stuff then.
Yeah.
What's something that people don't know about you?
People don't know about me. I don't know if they don't know about me. They probably learn it eventually. I have a big heart. I care deeply for people to a point, almost to a fault sometimes. Like, people will take advantage of it. So that's something that something I'm learning myself, where it's like I shouldn't jump so quickly to help people, because a lot of times the people who I'm helping, they have either there's no boundary for them, or they don't appreciate what people do for them. And it's very draining to someone like myself, because I'll continue to keep going just until they tell me to stop. Like, okay, that's enough. But sometimes it's never enough. So I think that's something that people don't know about me, is that, like, yeah, as cold as I can come off, or as very direct and nonchalant as I can seem, I actually care very deeply for people. It doesn't have to be people that, like, I'm close with either. It's not friends or family. Like, I'll see a stranger and do the most to try to help that person. So yeah, Ty has a big heart. If you don't know, now you know.
Now we know.
You know.
So where do you think do you see it as coldness? Like, can you understand when people receive it as coldness, or do you think it is like, what do you think that is?
Yeah. I don't think it's I don't feel this coldness. I could see why people can receive it that way. Again, something that I'm working on, like, just having a warmer presence. Again, I think that's just the nurturing of myself where I came from. You shouldn't be showing emotions, because that's weakness where I'm from. So it's like, and that goes either way. You're not supposed to look sad or upset or angry, because that shows that you're vulnerable. But you're also not going to be too excited and too bubbly, because this guy's soft as shit. Like, why you look so happy for it? Right? So it's like, it's always that very stoic, very nonchalant, not too much of one or the other, that I've grown up with. And again, it's tough because I have this big heart, but people don't see that when looking at me right away. They don't receive that. They don't feel it until they actually have a few interactions. Like, oh shit, like Ty is not a piece of shit. He's not an asshole. At least I think that's what most people think. They don't think I'm an asshole, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's so yeah. I think that's just like again the nurturing, and it's something that I can acknowledge and again working on. I was nurtured, but it doesn't mean I have to carry that with me throughout my entire life, and I acknowledge that. But again, if it's I'm turning 29 in like 2 weeks, so it's
Oh,
been
wow.
28 years of being in that mindset. I gotta get
You're
out
a
of it.
Pisces.
Big Pisces,
When's your birthday?
February 27th,
Okay.
coming up.
My birthday is coming up as well. You are a
Cheers.
bit older than I. My birthday is February 20th.
Okay.
So
How old are you turning?
I am turning. I'll be younger than you.
No, there's no way.
Don't
There's
you-
no way. Yo, you know what's? I know I'm getting old now because the people that I feel like are older than me are younger than me. This is crazy. And that's happened a few times. I'm like, nah, this guy had to be older than me. And then I find out their age. I'm like, what the hell? I'm getting old.
Well, you are very old. Your bones are getting old as well too. You're not as
Apparently,
fast as you used to be. You get
apparently.
okay. You
How old
can.
are you, Bryce?
I am younger than you.
And well, how old is that? What year are you born?
Like I said, I'm a spiritual person. So
Oh
I
my
feel like your age, my age is like Ty's coldness that comes off sometimes, right?
okay.
But I've got a big heart
You got a big car, okay. So what that got to do with your age though?
because I play Call of Duty
Okay,
an hour and a half minimum a week.
okay,
The grilled chicken that I grill
okay,
defines the type B personality that
okay,
I have
okay.
because when you are in a top performer arena, you're older than me, Ty.
All right, I'm gonna find out.
You
Listen,
don't need to do all of that.
I'm gonna find out. It's all right.
It's quite
And
all
when I
right.
do, I'm gonna post it online. I'm gonna tag you. Big old numbers, big font.
So you are older than me, but it's so I again, the more I'm learning about Ty, because
Hmm. We're everywhere. You learn a little bit of everything.
no, bro, but I'm saying you're a Pisces.
Yeah.
That, in my opinion, makes so much more sense. Because mind you,
I'm
I'm
not.
like,
I'm not. I'm
go
not big
ahead.
into the science. I won't lie to you. I don't know a
Yeah,
lot about
so mind you, all right, neither am I though. I'm not, but I am though, right?
it. Okay.
Because, well, listen, it's you. I'm sorry, I'm having like a real life moment because Ty, you cracking me up. It's the more stuff that I am learning about you, I love because it's like you remind me of Wendell a lot in so many different
Hmm.
ways. And it's like this new information that I am learning about you. I cannot wait to use it against you as I will just berate you with love. But it's like
Always
you're
looking to
just so
weaponize
funny,
you.
Ty, because it's like, when your birthday? February 27th. Big Pisces, big Pisces, Pisces in the building.
Yes,
2 seconds later.
sir.
Ty, you being a Pisces makes so much sense. But you know what, bro? I'm not really into all that astronomy stuff. Like it's
I'm definitely not into that. I'm proud of whatever I am, but I don't know much about it. You know what I mean?
see, it's like, Ty, it's
It
like
makes sense. It makes sense. But everyone
right.
tells me that. When I tell them I'm a Pisces, like, okay, I can see that.
No, because I'm a Pisces, so I get it, right? Like
Mm,
I get it. I feel like I have an extremely big heart. I
mm.
am giving
Yeah,
uh to a fault.
yeah,
Uh People misread me wrong. They don't get what they get from you,
yeah,
but they misread me.
yeah,
And sometimes I am standoffish and I am standoffish on purpose sometimes because again of my upbringing, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
if I am not friendly or if I'm not, then you won't tease me. You won't kind of get to know me. So it's like, no, I get it. I'm an introvert, but an extrovert.
yeah. Same shit with
So
me.
no, I'm saying like I
Yeah,
know. I'm saying it makes so much more sense now
yeah,
that
yeah.
we're learning this. And You, Ty, you like to be good at everything.
I try.
Right.
I try.
It's
I
like,
try.
ah, if it's going to rain today, Ty, I know. I'm big on the weather.
Oh,
Sunny. It's sunny.
I studied today, boy.
An hour later, Ty, we getting a damn snowstorm. I'm not an astronomer. I don't,
I
I
tried.
don't, I don't know all
Yeah,
about the weather.
I'm not qualified. I
It's like,
try to be though.
but I love that because I feel like it's your confidence, right?
Yeah,
Like you are very confident.
yeah.
And
Yeah. I say I'm confident. Yeah, for sure. I think that it comes off wrong sometimes. Again, delivery. People think I'm being arrogant or whatever. It's like I'm not. Okay, one thing about me is like I feel like growing up, I always had to be overconfident in myself because I didn't have that reassurance from the people that I felt like when you're a kid, you're supposed to boost your confidence. Like you could do anything. I got it at home from my mom. I can never, like I said, I can never do no wrong with my mom and my nanny. But going to school, like I'm expected to do less than. I'm expected to be less than my peers. So I was the one that had to believe in myself and say, yo, nah, you're smarter than these kids. You could do more. And it wasn't me trying to put anybody down. It was simply me trying to raise myself up to say, you are just as good, if not better than you. So do your damn thing, right? So I've carried that with me in my life. And again, even in Big Brother, I'm screaming ball game or whatever, and people are like, that's so arrogant. It had nothing to do with me putting nobody down. What most people don't see is that during competitions, I'm actually cheering the people who are working against me on. I'm like, yo, come on, you can do this. Keep going. I'm not trying to put nobody down. I'm just making sure that my own self-talk is where it should be to get myself to that next level. I'm here to compete too. You know what I mean? So
right.
what do I look like talking down? Say, oh, I can't do this. I can do this. Let's fucking go. You know what I mean? Until you guys knock me out, I can do this. So it's not like I hate when it's taken as arrogance or like whatever. And I get it because it can be a little bit aggressive sometimes, but it's more so it's that self-talk. Like when you have affirmations, those are some of the most arrogant things you can ever say to yourself. But it's just simply to put yourself in the right mindset. I am the greatest. I am this. I am that. It's like, yeah, if you said those things out loud to somebody else, you would sound like a piece of shit. Like, who does this guy think he is? But it's literally just talking to yourself and getting yourself into a space where, your insecurities and your doubts no longer control you. You know what I mean? That confidence takes over and it pushes you forward to where you're trying to get to.
Did you see that take of Jay-Z's speech at the Grammys? Did anyone send that to you?
No, but I heard a little piece of what was he talking about?
Well, essentially, because I don't got the quote on me,
Yeah.
but he
Was he
was
saying sorry, I was
saying
listening.
like talk yourself up
Yeah,
until you're in that room.
that's
Make
it.
yourself the CEO until you're the
Yeah,
CEO. Make yourself the president to your president. Make yourself like until so it's essentially what you're saying. So
yeah,
again, I receive it. I love it. I think
yeah,
that again, I could use some of that energy
yeah,
because personally speaking, sometimes I shy away from it or
yeah,
I don't give myself the credit that I deserve
yes,
for similar reasons like yourself. But so no, I love it. I
yeah,
again, just me knowing more and more about you. I love that no matter what, you're going to be confident and you're going to be uplifting.
yeah.
Reminds me of when we were in LA and
Mm,
Wendell and I were getting ready for our finale this season, and we had this amazing venue. Sometimes I could be not a Debbie Downer, but sometimes with
yeah,
Wendell and I's friendship, it's like sometimes I'm like the realist, right? Like,
yeah,
so
yeah.
he feels like I'm bringing the negativity or like I'm always speaking negative about something, but
Mm,
it's like I'm a planner. So it's
yeah.
like I kind of plan for the worst, expect
Mhm.
the best.
Yeah,
Wendell is kind of like the exact opposite. Wendell is like, we shooting for the stars. I'm like,
yeah,
we gonna shoot for the stars. But I just want to make sure we got gas. I want to make sure our shoes are like,
yeah,
so it's
yeah,
like that's why we balance each other so much. We balance each other so well. But again, to your point, we were we happened to see you walking and we were
mm,
walking up. We was like, hey, what's up, Ty? What's going on?
mm,
And you're like, this building looks great. Can't wait for tonight or
yeah,
tomorrow. I'm not sure what day.
yeah,
And we were like, both Wendell and I was like, yeah, but this has a deck. Like we wanted
yeah,
this space because of the deck. It's gonna rain. Like it's gonna mess up the vibe because we're not gonna be outside. And
yeah.
instantly, Ty, you was like, regardless of rain or shine, like
It'll be
we
lit.
all in the building tomorrow. We're gonna. And I remember when Wendell and I we walked away from y'all. I was like, Ty's a good guy. Like
Yeah.
like you don't know how much we needed that because we were so stressed about the space. Will it work?
Yeah.
Will it not? And then here you come.
I don't even remember that. That's crazy. I remember obviously seeing you guys there, but I don't remember like that moment. But yeah, man, I just feel like, there's so many things that are out of our control. But the one thing we can control is how we operate and how we're thinking, and how we're feeling in any given moment. So it's like, we always like for yourself, you call yourself a realist, but you're always looking for the worst possible case scenario. But it's like, all right, cool, yeah, all these things can go wrong, but what about all the things that are gonna go right? You know what I mean? So you can't control every single factor, but it was still a great turnout. When you're surrounded by great people, it's gonna be a good vibe, whether you're on the deck or you're fucking trapped in like a little 2x4, whatever box. It don't matter. You know what I mean? So it was a great time, and as you guys seen, it was all worth it in the end, right?
Yeah, no, right. I agree. We had a great time, but it's sometimes those little reminders, and sometimes
Yes.
you're right. Being a realist,
There's
no,
times I think there's times for everything. You always need to have that voice in your head that's aware of what could go wrong, but it's also great to understand everything that can go right. And more times than not, things will go more according to plan than against it. Like, what's the worst that could have happened? It rains and then we got to stay inside. Cool, but that doesn't take away from the fun that everyone's gonna have. People are gonna be drinking, mingling. It actually could work out better because it forces people to interact with each other. Whereas when you have the deck open, everyone's more spread out and it's gonna be less interactive. So it probably worked out in the benefit of the event.
no, it did.
Yeah.
I agree. You got to focus on the positive.
There you go.
What is an alley oop?
An alley oop.
Hmm.
In what context are we talking about?
I mean, your ball game, right? So what's an alley oop?
An alley oop is like an opportunity that you can toss off to somebody else to say, "Go finish the job." Yeah,
Oh, okay.
we're not
Just
gonna
want to.
get we're not gonna get into that.
I'm about to, oh, that's why I said alley oop.
Woo! That's
I'm not
that's in the
I'm
context.
not messy, Ty, but I will drop a nugget. So in the moment,
Yo, you're messy.
you
You are
know what I mean.
messy. You are
Nah,
messy.
but
Yeah. I fumbled there. I won't lie to you, but it happens. Everything happens for a reason.
everything happens for a reason. You got to
Everything
focus on the
happens for a reason.
positive.
Yeah,
You
we
got
always
to
focus on
focus
the
on the
positive.
positive side. Well, this was such a fun interview. I
Yeah.
appreciate you so much. But actually, it's not going to be done because now I want
Yeah.
to pick your brain a little bit.
Yeah.
What did you think of this? Like, what did you think of our conversation?
Great, bro. It's always great talking to you. You're one of
I
the
mean,
most fun people
duh.
to talk to. It's not even close. You're one of the yeah. You're one of the easiest people to talk to. Your energy around me is always great. So it's like nothing to complain about. Yeah, there's
You wouldn't
nothing.
have nothing to complain about anyway. Like, what you talk about, Ty? You with the best podcaster ever. What you
Yo,
talking
yo, but
about?
you know what, yo? I have a request though. I need you to get somebody on this podcast that deserves to be on this podcast
Oh,
to talk their shit. And I think you would be a great person to bring that out of them.
oh. Oh, who- you said, listen, okay, come on with the success coaching. This
Listen,
is the top performers arena. So
yes,
who would you want on here? We're gonna get them on.
I want Daniel Clark on this show with you.
Daniel is more than welcome.
Okay, so I'm gonna set it up right after we
Okay,
get off.
okay.
I'm gonna
Come
connect
on,
y'all.
manager.
That guy, no, honestly though, I think he would be great. He very easy to talk to like yourself. I think you have a great conversation. I think that guy deserves a lot more credit than what he got off that show. That guy has one of the greatest social games that of the few seasons I've seen, I haven't seen anybody work like that guy. So he deserves more credit. I think that talking to
Well,
someone like you will be able to bring it out of him because he's great. He's too
ensure.
humble. That's his problem. He's too humble.
I love how I gotta call it the Tyisms. That's my new phrase. I'm gonna start using it. Because you just did it with showing your man love, but it's
Come
also
on.
like, yeah, the best player ever in Big Brother Canada. Now I only seen
I
two,
only seen 2 seasons,
but
but I
listen,
know two.
but for what I know, no, yeah, we love Daniel. I will set it up. We can make it happen. But
Of
honestly, though, Ty, I appreciate you. Thank you for being so open, honest,
course.
having these conversations with me. I really appreciate it. Before we go, if you could just again, let people know if they want some success coaching or about your foundation and where they can follow you at.
Yes. So my personal Instagram is Ty McDonald. You can follow my business page on Instagram as well and TikTok and all those other places at Top Performers Arena. If you're interested in life coaching, success coaching, mindset coaching, hit me up, shoot me a DM, or simply apply on the website that you will find in either of those profiles is bio. There's a website there for you guys. And yeah, let's win this year. It's 2024. Let's win.
Let's go. All right. Well, this is one-on-one with Ty McDonald. It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You better listen in public, might make your stomach hurt. Ooh. It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You're trying to unwind, you better get that box wine. It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You're trying to get your snack, you better hurry right back though. It's the Purple Pants. It's the Purple Pants.